Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with a breaking news alert right now. Fargo police are searching for a couple that hasn't been heard from for at least 2 months. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Schreier. Police are searching for 31-year-old Bonnie Moores and 40-year-old Jimmy Shoemake. Neither have a permanent address, and they haven't been seen since they were released from jail in October. Moores is 5'1", 115 pounds with blue eyes and brown hair. Shoemake is 5'10", 120 pounds with hazel eyes and brown hair. Now, if you know anything about where they could be, call the police number that's up on your screen right now. New at noon, Fargo police want your help finding the driver who hit someone with their pickup and then took off. Authorities say it happened on New Year's Eve close to midnight just outside of the No Bull restaurant and bar in the 600 block of NP Avenue. The victim was walking between two parked cars before being hit. They were hurt but are expected to be okay. The only information we have at this time is the suspect's vehicle was described as this light-colored truck. If you have information regarding the incident, call police 701-241-5777. We have new information now on that officer-involved shooting in Minnesota. Police have now identified the officer who was shot in the head and is fighting for his life. That officer is Eric Matson of Freeborn, Minnesota. However, he works for the Waseca Police Department. At a news conference later this morning, authorities say it all happened last night around 8 o'clock in Waseca. Officer Matson was responding to a domestic disturbance when he was ambushed and shot. The suspect was also shot and is now in police custody.
Well, I think I've heard it and I've said it. This is the worst nightmare a law enforcement agency can face, and we're living it right now.
Officer Matson is in a Twin Cities hospital. Now stay with Valley News Live throughout the day on our news app as we follow this story. Taking that live look outside right now, it doesn't look too bad, but you step outside, you know it's cold. To see how much chillier we might be getting throughout the day, let's check in with Lisa Green.
Well, we are looking at those temperatures sliding again as we head into the afternoon. We're already down in the single digits for a lot of places. We're at 1 in Boston and in Langdon. Fargo's down to 8 now, and it's 4 in Grand Forks. A few places still hanging on to those double digits at the moment. But again, we're looking at much cooler air in place than we have had recently. And add the wind to it, and it's just raw out there. We're looking at winds out of the northwest gusting into the 20s to near 30 miles per hour, and we currently have a gust to 28 in Fargo and in Bemidji out of that northwesterly direction. And when you factor that in, here are your wind chills. Teens even 21 below in Langdon. It feels like 12 below in Fargo and a wind chill of 14 below in Grand Forks. So bottom line is you're going to want to bundle up as we continue on through the day. Checking out your radar and satellite map, you can see it's pretty quiet. Most of us enjoying lots of sun here, and we'll continue that trend heading into the afternoon. Temperatures still sliding, and then you see here our numbers slip below zero tonight. We'll let you know just how low they'll go coming up in just a few minutes, and when we might see a warm up too in just a moment.
All right, thank you, Lisa. A North Dakota man is in custody on multiple child pornography charges. A criminal affidavit says 29-year-old Brynner Renicky admitted to investigators to downloading and uploading the material using mobile apps. Renicky could face up to 50 years in prison if convicted on all the counts. Officials in South Dakota are preparing to vote on whether to legalize recreational marijuana for adults 21 years and older. Yesterday, the Secretary of State said his office has validated a proposed constitutional amendment that would legalize marijuana and require the state legislature to enact a hemp cultivation law. South Dakota voters in November will also decide a measure to allow medical marijuana. With tensions on the rise in the Middle East, the Pentagon is sending thousands of troops to the region. As Chip Reed reports, overseas deployments are part of a soldier's job, but that doesn't make them any easier for the families left behind.
Just like that.
Yes.
Your life went from a normal family life to
Chaos.
Rachel Hurdle and her husband, Sergeant Alexander Hurdle, were visiting her family in Ohio when he got the call to head to the Middle East.
The previous 2 deployments were all planned, and so we had time to get ready. This one threw us for a loop.
Let's go.
Hurdle is one of thousands of servicemen and women of the 82nd Airborne Division that specializes in parachute assault operations and in responding to emergency crisis situations anywhere in the world.
You admire him for what he does?
I do. I cannot imagine leaving my children. And I know that it breaks his heart.
It's just sad. Everything he's going to miss. It's sad.
Jill Jarogowski's husband left for the Middle East on Sunday.
You're so proud of him, but it's shattering at the same time. It is the most unexplainable feeling.
Hurdle and her husband have one biological son who is 8 and 3 foster children.
That my children have finally bonded with a man that wants to be their daddy. And if he were not to come home, how would I tell that to them?
This is what military families go through all the time.
It is. But we often don't say it out loud.
For security reasons, the soldiers of the 82nd Airborne Division have been ordered not to use their cell phones and not to tell their families where they're going. And if history is any guide, they could be gone for 9 months or even more. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck Puerto Rico before dawn this morning and was followed 3 hours later by an aftershock measuring 6.0. They're the largest in a series of quakes that have struck the U.S. territory in recent days and caused heavy damage in some areas. The earthquakes caused a wide power outage and landslides. And if one of your New Year's resolutions is to get a new job, consider what questions you will ask potential employers. Ask how performance is evaluated, or how does the role contribute to the company's revenue growth, or ask why the job is open. It's important to make sure the position you accept is right for you. And don't forget to join us tomorrow as our Proceed Road to Frisco coverage kicks off live in Frisco with the Bison team football team. We'll bring you all the latest all week, taking you up to our 90-minute-long Farmers Union Insurance Bison football pregame show on Saturday. That coverage starts at 9:30 with kickoff to follow at 11 o'clock between the Bison and the Dukes.